Have you ever noticed that you stop yourself exactly when things start to work out? Not when you fail, not when it gets hard, but precisely then, when the finish line is finally within reach. Most people will call it laziness or fear of failure. Psychologists have written about this for decades. Fear of making mistakes, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But there's something that gets talked about far less. There are people, and chances are you're one of them, since you're watching this video, who don't stop because they're afraid of failing. They stop because they're afraid of winning. I know, that sounds absurd. Why would you be afraid of something you actually want? But that absurdity is exactly where one of the most precise psychological mechanisms I've ever studied lies. And today we're going to walk through it step by step. Because if you recognize yourself in what I'm about to describe, this video will change the way you see your own life. Not in terms of motivation, in terms of understanding. And understanding is the only thing that actually changes anything. So, why do smart people fear their own success? And what does that fear look like from the inside, when you can't even see it happening? The fear of success doesn't look like fear. That's the whole problem. It doesn't arrive as panic. It doesn't knock on your door and say, "Hey, I'm here to stop you." It arrives as reason. You sit down to work on a project and suddenly realize you need to understand the topic better first. You're almost ready to launch something of your own, but decide the product isn't quite good enough yet. You could already show people what you've built, but you tell yourself, just a little more. I'll polish it a bit more. From the outside, this looks like responsibility, like high standards, like someone who takes their work seriously. From the inside, it has a different name. Psychologists call it avoidance through perfectionism. You're not procrastinating, you're improving. You're not afraid, you're preparing. You're not standing still, you're just not ready yet. And here's the most dangerous part. The smarter the person, the more convincing their explanations sound to themselves. An average person will tell themselves, "I'm being lazy," and at least know the truth. A smart person will build an entire system of arguments for why right now genuinely isn't the best moment. Why it's too soon. Why they need to wait a little longer. And that system will be completely logical. Airtight. Unshakable. This is exactly why smart people get stuck deeper. Not because they're weaker, but because they're better at explaining to themselves why staying in place is the right thing to do. Now the important question. What exactly happens in the moment when success becomes close? What triggers this mechanism? Imagine, you've been working on something for a long time. You've put in time, energy, thought, and then it starts to work. People respond. Something shifts. And in that moment, instead of joy, something quiet and cold appears inside. Not fear of failure. You've run failure through your head hundreds of times. You're prepared for it. You know how to live with it. But success, real, actual success, you've never fully played that out. Because the moment it becomes possible, you find a reason to stop. Why does success specifically trigger that quiet, cold stop? It's not a coincidence, and it's not a weakness of character. It's a trace of something that was planted much earlier. Let's go back, far back, not into philosophy or abstraction, but to a specific moment that almost every person with high intelligence and deep thinking has experienced. At some point in your life, in childhood, at school, in your family, you understood one thing. Maybe someone told you directly. Maybe you just felt it. You're smart. You're special. You have potential. And at first, that sounded like praise. Like a promise. Like something given in advance. But then something strange happened. That potential became your identity. Not what you do, but what you could do. Not your results, but your abilities. Not who you are, but who you could become. And as long as you haven't realized that potential, you remain a person with potential. That sounds safe. It even sounds good. But the moment you take a step, the moment you put something out into the world and get a real result, the potential ends. Reality appears. And reality is always smaller than potential. Always. Because potential is infinite in your imagination. But a real result is concrete, measurable, and can be evaluated. And that's where the fear lives. Not what if I fail, but what if I give everything I have and it's still not enough? Before you try, you are infinite. The moment you try, you become measurable. That is far more terrifying than any failure. Failure can be explained by circumstances, by bad timing, by bad luck. I just haven't really started yet. But if you truly start, and that's it. That's your maximum. Then the entire story about being special, about potential, about I could have, collapses in an instant. There's another layer to this. More social, but no less sharp. When a smart person spends a long time in the role of the one who could, a certain kind of environment builds up around them. People who are used to having them nearby, who see them as one of their own, who feel no distance between them. Success changes that. Sometimes permanently. People start treating you differently. Sometimes better, sometimes worse, but differently. And that differently breaks something familiar. You might lose the sense of belonging. That place where people know you, accept you, and don't ask you to prove anything. And the subconscious draws a simple conclusion. Success is dangerous. It changes everything. Better to stay where it's safe. This isn't cowardice. It's survival logic, just pointed in the wrong direction. And the longer a person lives inside that logic, the higher the price they end up paying. Some things don't disappear all at once. They leave quietly, gradually, almost without you noticing. And one day you look back and realize that 3 years have passed, or 5, or 10, and you're still exactly where you were, just now with a longer list of reasons why. Here's what the fear of success actually takes from you. The first thing it takes is time. And this is the most obvious loss, which is exactly why it's the hardest one to feel. Every day of delay seems insignificant on its own. Wait 1 more week, 1 more month, finish 1 more section, learn 1 more thing. 1 day means nothing. 100 days is already a piece of your life. 1,000 days is already a choice you made, even if you never made it consciously. The second thing it takes is confidence. And here's the paradox. You'd think, the longer you prepare, the more confident you should feel. More knowledge, more understanding, more experience. But the opposite happens. Every time you stop at the line and don't cross it, your brain registers one thing. I didn't do it again. It doesn't matter what explanation you give yourself. Somewhere deeper, that's what gets recorded. And each time, the line moves a little higher. The barrier doesn't grow on the outside, it grows on the inside. Until one day, even a small step starts to feel like something impossible. The third thing, and this is the most painful one, it takes the version of you that you could have become. This isn't abstract. This is a specific person, with specific results, with a specific life. Someone who could have existed, but doesn't, because you kept choosing the safety of potential over the risk of reality. If you're listening to this right now and feeling something uncomfortable, that's okay. That's exactly the feeling that needs to be felt. Because the discomfort of awareness is the only thing that can actually move a person off dead ground. Not motivation, not inspiration, not the right moment. This, what you're feeling right now. If this video showed up in your feed, hit like. Not for me. So that things like this reach the people who need to hear them. But awareness is only the first step. On its own, it doesn't change anything. Because you can understand everything I've just described, nod along, feel the recognition, say yes, this is me, and 3 days later be doing exactly the same thing. Understanding without a mechanism is just an interesting idea. Next, we'll get to the most important part. Not inspiration, not just start, but the specific mechanics of how to actually stop this pattern. Most advice sounds the same. Just start. Take the first step. Don't wait for the perfect moment. I'm not going to say that. Not because it's wrong, but because for someone who thinks deeply, it's the least effective thing there is. A smart person has already heard these phrases, already agreed with them, already nodded, already felt that temporary lift, and already ended up back in the same place. Because motivation doesn't change the structure. It just raises the pressure for a while. Something else is needed. A mechanism. The first thing, stop turning the result into an event. Here's what happens inside the mind of someone who fears success. The result is a moment of judgment. A verdict. If it works, you're good enough. If it doesn't, you overestimated yourself. That's unbearable pressure. And the brain, trying to protect you, does something simple. It keeps you away from the moment of judgment. The way out is to dismantle that construction entirely. A result is not a verdict. It's data. Data about what works and what doesn't. Data you can actually use. Data that says nothing about who you are as a person. This isn't wordplay. It's literally a different neural pathway. One that has to be built through repetition, through experience, through small actions that end not in judgment, but simply in information. The second thing, separate your identity from your results. Remember where the fear comes from? From the fact that potential became your personality, that a smart person with ability and you became the same thing. As long as that's true, any real result threatens you as a person. Separation looks like this. The result belongs to the project, not to you. You are not your project, not your work, not your achievements. You exist separately from what you create. This sounds simple. Making it real in your actual thinking, that's hard. But this is exactly what separates people who keep moving steadily from those who spend years preparing for the first step. The third thing, change the question. Usually, a smart person asks themselves before taking action, what if it doesn't work out? Or in our case, what if it does work out, and I turn out to be less than I thought I was? Both questions lead nowhere. Because there's no answer to them. Only scenarios the brain will keep running on a loop forever. The question that actually works sounds different. What will I learn if I do this? Not what will I get? Not what will I achieve? Not who will I become? But what will I learn? What information will I get about reality? This question moves the action out of the category of risk and into the category of exploration. And exploration, a smart person does well. That's their element. That's something they're not afraid of. You simply change the frame, and the mechanism starts working for you instead of against you. The fourth thing, and the last, is being honest with yourself about what exactly you're protecting. Not I'm not ready yet, but I'm protecting my image as someone with unlimited potential. Not I need more time, but I don't want to find out where my real limit is. Not the conditions aren't right yet, but I'm afraid that if I change, I'll lose something I'm used to. These are uncomfortable ways to phrase things. That's exactly why they work. Because the lie you tell yourself beautifully keeps you in place. And the truth that's painful to admit gives you the ability to move. Not motivation, not inspiration, a mechanism. And that brings us to the last part, to what you'll take with you when this video ends. I'm not going to end this video with "you can do anything." Not because I don't believe in you, but because you've already heard that phrase many times. And it didn't move you because the problem was never about belief. The problem was that you were hiding. Smartly, logically, convincingly, but hiding. And I'm not going to pretend that one video fixes that. It doesn't. It would be dishonest to say otherwise. But here's what this video can do, if you let it. The next time you find yourself at that line, when something starts to work out, and that quiet cold stop appears inside, you'll recognize it. You won't think it's caution, or high standards, or just not the right moment. You'll say to yourself, "Oh, there it is. I know you." And that is already a different position. That's no longer autopilot. That's a moment of choice that didn't exist before. Because as long as the mechanism is invisible, it controls you. The moment you see it, you start to control it. Not immediately, not perfectly, not once and for all, but you start. There's one more thing I want to say before we finish. People who hide behind potential are usually genuinely talented people. That's exactly why the loss is so sharp. Because the world is actually missing out on something valuable. Not in a dramatic sense. In a literal one. There are things that only you could create, with your way of thinking, your angle, your experience. And while you're waiting for the perfect moment, those things simply don't exist. That's not pressure. That's just a fact. And one last thing. The fear of success doesn't disappear completely. I don't know a single person who has fully gotten rid of it. It gets quieter. It stops being in charge. But it stays, like background noise that you've learned to notice and not obey. That's enough. That's the goal. Not to defeat the fear, but to stop being ruled by it. If this video gave you even one thought that stayed with you, leave one word in the comments. Recognized. I don't need a long message. Just that word. Because I want to know how many of you are out there, people who saw themselves in this. Thank you for watching until the end. That alone says something about you.